Hello students, I am presenting for our Composition in English course at UNAP in Quitos. Well, I was telling you the last class about the writing process, and now, well, we're going to continue, yes, talking about the other concepts. So we know what is writing, what writing skills are, and we went through the description, the explanation of the four major purposes for writing. Now we're going to continue talking about the writing process. Well, as you can see here, there are many authors, yes, specialists, linguists, and language teachers who wrote the literature about the writing process. And they mentioned that there are 5 stages of the writing process. As you can see here, rewriting is the first stage. When you start planning what you're going to write, you think about it, you think about what you're going to write. You can do certain techniques like brainstorming, mapping, free writing, or and then you organize these ideas you were doing during the pre-writing stage. The second stage is drafting, is when you take the ideas you had in stage number 1 in the pre-writing stage, and now you start writing your draft. Yes, you write a draft. So you write down the ideas that you had previously, you put your thoughts on paper, and you have a rough draft. We say a rough draft because we're going to have the final draft at the end of the writing process. The third stage is when you do revising, when you do editing and revising. It's because you make changes, you read your draft, your writing, your piece of writing, and you check, you revise if the ideas are well written there, if you are transmitting, if you are communicating the ideas you wanted to communicate. Yes, if not, you make it better and clarify what you were trying to write. The next step or the next stage is proofreading. It is in this step when you edit your writing. This time you pay attention to the grammar aspects, you pay attention to the spelling, the vocabulary that you used, so you make it correct and you fix the mistakes. And finally, you are ready for publishing. Publishing means that you have your final copy, you made it neat, yes, so it's clean and it's the final copy that you have, so you're ready to share your piece of writing with others in your classroom or by using social media or by publishing in a newspaper, in a magazine of the school. So we're going to see now these stages in detail. Well, now I am taking a classification of these stages by, as you can see, by these authors, by some other authors. You can see them at the bottom. So they have put, if you see here, they have put proofreading and publishing in just one stage. Yes, so but they are the same. If you check the previous slide, they are the same. So now I would like to tell you about pre-writing. So we're going to check what are the items you should consider when you do pre-writing. First of all, finding and narrowing a subject topic. Well, when you're doing pre-writing, of course you have to find a topic. Sometimes your teacher is going to assign the topic, or sometimes you are going to have a topic by yourself. So if you have this topic and you decided to write about this topic, you have to narrow the topic. You're not going to write about a very global topic or a general topic or a wide topic. you have to narrow the topic. So if you were going to have, you were going to write about football, yes. So the topic is not going to be football because football is too general. You can talk about football in our whole planet, in different countries, but if you narrow the topic, you can probably talk about football played by children in Iquitos. Yes? So, football played by children in Iquitos, that could be a narrow topic. Of course, you can do this, you can write, but previously you need to do some previous research, you need to collect information to determine what the context is, the problem or what the context is. Well, if you're deciding the topic by yourself, if you have a free topic to decide and to write about, your topic should pass the 3 question test. These questions. Number one, does it interest me? So is it a topic that interests me? So I'm going to be motivated to write about that. Do I have something to say about it? I need to know about this topic to write about it. Is it specific what I was saying? You need to narrow the topic because if not, there's going to be too many things to say about the topic, and you need a lot of vocabulary. You're going to write lots and lots and lots of pages about the topic, and that's probably not the intention. Well, the second item is gathering ideas using pre-writing techniques. So you need to know how to collect the ideas, gather the ideas, right? And for this, you're going to use pre-writing techniques that you need to remember. One of the techniques could be brainstorming. Brainstorming, you know that you have this rain of ideas, or listing, right? You make a list of the ideas that come to your mind. Some other people, some other writers, they start doing free writing. So they have the ideas, they take a piece of paper. Sometimes, if you're in a restaurant or a cafe, you take a napkin, yes, a paper napkin, and then you start writing. That is free writing, yes? When all the ideas come freely to your mind and write up to the end. Another pre-writing technique is clustering or mapping. So you do like a graph, a horizontal graph or a mind map, and you have your ideas there. Then some other authors say that people prefer doing questions, writing questions, and they answer those questions by themselves. Sometimes another valid pre-writing technique is discussing, especially if you are in a classroom, yes, and you discuss first and then you have the ideas, what you're going to write about. And finally, another pre-writing technique is outlining. Outlining is like making a scheme, right? Okay, so this is when you collect the ideas, you gather the ideas. Well, the next one is identifying a purpose and an audience. So you need to know the purpose, the reason you're writing. If you're writing for expressing something, yes, to express your opinion, to express your ideas, to express your feelings. If you're writing something informative, probably to narrate something, or if you're writing persuasive writing to convince others. Yes, you're writing an advert, you're writing something for publicity. So that is, or you're writing to your opinion as well to convince others. More than one may be used, but one will be primary. So you can have, for example, informative and persuasive writing at the same time. Well, another and the last item of the rewriting stage is ordering the ideas. So if you have your list, if you have a mind map, for example, you need to decide which of the ideas you want to use and where you want to use them. So if you're going to write this idea first, you probably put number 1 by the side of this idea, or you write about this one secondly. Yes, so you choose which idea to talk about, which to talk about next and which to talk about last. So you can arrange these ideas chronologically, spatially, by importance, or logically. Yes, it depends on the type of writing you are doing and the purpose you're having. You use charts to order your ideas. As I said before, it's good to use charts so you put number one this, number two this. So you classify the information. Well, so all this is about the pre-writing stage. Now let's go through the second stage, that is writing a draft. Here, in this stage, you put your ideas into sentences. It means that you start writing. You have those ideas you planned previously. Now you start writing. Yes, you write your paragraph or essay or description or narrative from start to finish. And you use your notes about your ideas and organization. You use the notes you had before in the pre-writing stage. While you're writing, you can include new ideas you discover as you write, yes? So if you're writing, sometimes new ideas come to you, so you include those ideas. You try to present them clearly. Some writers revise their draft several times throughout the writing process, but you don't need to do this. You don't need to overeat it because you're going to do that afterwards in the next stage. Yes, you can evaluate and revise and proofread later. Okay, so now we go to the next stage, that is evaluating and revising. Well, in this third stage, you go to revise. You revise what you have written previously, and this time you're going to judge the content, organization, and style. So you're going to revise what you have written, but you don't need to focus on grammar or spelling or punctuation. No, this time you're going to read your writing silently, or you can give somebody else or perhaps a classmate to revise, and you're going to check your ideas. If you have written, if you have communicated the ideas you have properly, right? And you check if you can add or you can omit certain information. You can also ask a classmate to exchange text with you, and you both revise each piece of writing each other. And in this stage, you're going to make changes to improve the draft, right? What you have written. So you're going to revise the content of your text, not grammar, not spelling, not vocabulary, not punctuation, but you're going to revise by applying one or more of four basic revising techniques that are adding. So you can add more information because you see that there's something missing that you wanted to convey, to communicate. You can cut, so you omit something, you erase some piece of information, or you replace by something that you think is better, or you can reorder. Yes, so all this is done in the third stage. And finally, we have the fourth stage, which is proofreading and publishing. Here, as you can see, stage 4 and stage 5 were put together. So here what you do is to correct errors. This is the time when you correct the errors in spelling, usage, and mechanics. There's a spelling mistake there. Mechanics means grammar. Yes, so this time you read your text again, probably for the third or the fourth time, and you check your spelling and grammar and think about the words you have chosen to use. You can probably think that you better change some words to be more precise on what you want to say. And finally, you go to the final stage, share your writing, publish your writing. Yes, you're ready to share your writing with an audience beyond your teacher. Not only your teacher, but probably you can share your writing by the university newspaper or magazine if you have, probably a blog, a forum, or by email or by the social networking. You can use the social networking. You can publish on Google by one of the applications in Google, or you can share your writing by a writing process. So this is the final stage of the writing process, and